Hey guys, this is Parker here from TestPrepChampions.com, and I'm going to answer a quick question here from Chris. So let me pull up the question. Chris asks, what's more important for a 17-year-old high school dropout to pursue first, a GED or a driver's license, giving him the ability to drive to work? And I thought this was a really interesting question, and so I wanted to chime in here for what it's worth and give you my take on this. So first of all, I want to ask you, to get you to think a little bit here. Why do you have to choose? Why do you have to choose? Are you able to do both? Is there a way that you can do both, study for your driver's test and also study for the GED at the same time? I'm not sure what state you're in and where you're at, so I'm not sure exactly what the requirements are for you to get your driver's license, but I'm thinking there might be a way that you can do both, especially if you've got some time on your hands right now. Kind of funny story that relates to this is I actually was working with a student once, and she was studying for the GED test at the same time as she was studying for a driver's license as well. So we actually kind of made a reading exercise out of it. I'm here in Pennsylvania, and she had the driver's ed manual that they give out, and she was using that, and we kind of turned it into a reading exercise. So she killed two birds with the same stone by practicing her reading comprehension while also getting some work in for her driver's test. And so it's kind of dark in here. The lighting's a little weird, so if you see orb type things going around back here, my house isn't haunted. It's just that the lighting is not too good because I'm just starting to make videos on YouTube. But anyway, the point is here that I don't want you guys to lose focus, because what the point is that you can do both. And if not, if you really have to choose between one or the other, what I would tell you to do is I would get your driver's license first, especially if you're 17. So if you've got to work, that should come first, okay? So the GED can lead to college, it could lead to community college, full-time college, 4 years, or it could lead to more job opportunities. There's a lot of jobs that want you to have a GED. Okay, so I understand that. But depending on where you're at, that could be a multi-month process depending on where you're at. Now, for some people, they'll study for the GED in a week or two and bang it out, and you might be able to do that. I hope you can. I hope if you go for it, I hope you're able to do it as fast as possible. But I just wanted to say that a lot of people, it could be a multi-month process depending on how you want to do it, or it doesn't necessarily have to be, but you're probably going to look at least a month, if not 1 to 3 months to pass every section. Unless you're able to spend, 6 to 8 hours a day doing it, then you could probably pass the GED test in a couple weeks, all 4 sections, or all 5 sections, excuse me. But really what you want to ask yourself is, that's a lot. That's going to be really painful to sit there and do that all day. You can do it, but, you're probably, so if you have to choose between both, I would pick the driver's license first, because number one, if you have to work, right, and you can't drive to work right now, you're going to want to make sure that you're doing that, right? So you got to make sure that you've got your job and you've got your paycheck coming first, okay? But the thing is, so let's say that you get a job, right, and you're able to work, you're able to drive to work, okay? That's awesome. But if you're working full-time, you're going to be doing 40 hours a week, okay? Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, depending on your job, but you're going to be really busy. You're going to have a lot on your plate. So if you want to study for the GED and work a full-time job at the same time, it's definitely doable. It's more than doable, but it's going to take some focus and some time management, and you're going to have to set aside a little bit of time. So what I'm honestly thinking here is that working on both at the same time, doing a little bit of your driver's license stuff and also doing some stuff for the GED at the same time, I think that would help you actually learn how to manage your time and learn how to make that work, okay? Because when you're working full-time and juggling GED studying, okay, it can be a little tricky until you really get in a rhythm, okay? It doesn't have to be. It just, like I said, depends on where you're at with your study skills and your time management, but I would really try to do both, and if you can't for whatever reason, I would get the license first. I don't know which state you're in. In some states, I think when I had to get my license in PA, I had to have a certain amount of hours. When I turned 16, I got my permit. I didn't have to do driver's ed or anything. I did, but that was because it helped with my parents' insurance payments. It was a little cheaper, I think, but it had nothing to do with the permit. So in PA, the way I did it was I got the manual and I studied. I went and got my permit. Then I had to have a certain number of hours with someone driving with me, my parents, and then after a certain number of hours, I was able to schedule my driver's test, and I did that. So I'm not sure what state you're in or where you're at, but if you need help, like if you need somebody to take you out on the road, if you need somebody to take you out and work on parallel parking, okay, really that can be done in a couple weeks, if you've got somebody that can help you do it. or I don't know what state you're in. Like I said, I'm not sure how strict or how rigorous your process is, but I'm thinking that I would, if you have to choose, if you absolutely positively have to choose between driver's license and the GED, okay, I would do that first. Set aside a couple weeks, give yourself a time frame. That's really key, is to be specific about the amount of time that you want to give to this, okay? And so set a date. Pick a date when you think you're going to get your driver's test, a couple weeks or a month from now. Really, it depends if you need other people's help to get it, or if it's something you can just study for on your own. Like I said, I have no idea what state you're in, obviously, but I would make sure you do that first, okay, if you have to choose between the two, because you're going to want a car because you're going to want to be able to get to and from work, okay? But also, you're going to want a car because it's fun, right? Life's a lot more fun when you've got a car. Easier to get around, easier to get places, obviously, and that's probably going to help you with your GED studying. I don't know if you're going to do classes or you're going to do whatever. I would prioritize that first, because if you do it the other way around, and like I said, this is if you have to pick, if you absolutely have to pick, if you have to do the GED first, that might stretch out for a few months, right? Like I said, unless you're spending a whole lot of time every day, that might drag out for a month or two or more, and so if you really drag that process out, you're going to be waiting for a while to get the GED, and then if you're waiting to get your license to apply for jobs and stuff like that, I think it's going to be a lot longer in the long run, because the goal is to get your GED and for you to get working, so you can make some money and you can enjoy your life a little bit, right? Relax a little bit in your free time, okay? Not worry about anything. It's, when you've got a job, your bills are paid, you've got goals you're working towards, like your GED or whatever you want to do after it, if it's college, or you just want to get it for personal fulfillment, whatever. You want to get moving here, and I don't blame you. You should be a little impatient. It's good that you're a little impatient, because life doesn't wait. You got to get out there and start making moves. But I would really strongly try to consider both. But the key is to map it out. How long do you think it's going to take to get your driver's license? So I want you to break it down step by step. Just get out a pad and paper, or you can do it in your head, whatever works, and just break it down into a series of steps. Do you need a certain number of hours? Do you need someone to take you out and show you how to parallel park? Do you need to go out and, figure out, practice and figure out how your car works? You might need to get a car too, so that's going to kind of be one of those chicken and the egg things, because you might need the job to get the car, but you also might need the car first to get the job. So I'm not sure how it's all going to work, but I think that, the right way to think about this here is to think both. Think in terms of both. How can you put this all together? And I think it's going to help you down the line with your time management skills as well. But like I said, if for whatever reason you have to choose both, you have to choose one or the other, I would do the driver's license first. But I want you to map it out. You can even make a checklist of all the steps that you need to take. Schedule the driver's appointment, whatever you got to do. And then look at the GED, right? That's a little bit more complex, but get familiar with the test. Look at all the different subjects that are going to be on the test. Look at what you're going to have to do, and try to plan out a timeline. And you can get a calendar, however you want to do it, but really try to make out a timeline for yourself here. And I think that that's important. It's really good to set goals, which for you in this case, it's the driver's license and the GED test. That's awesome, right? But I also think that you need to get a timeline here. But the good news is that I think that within 6 months or so, if you really dedicate yourself, I think that you'll be good. I think you can get both done in a relatively short period of time, but you just need to do a little bit of planning and just put a little bit of thought into how you can translate this idea. So you've got these ideas, you've got this burning desire, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm assuming since you're asking a question like this, I'm assuming you really want to know, you're eager to learn what you should do here. So I'm assuming you've got some desire. This is really a question that you want to know the answer to. So what I would do is, you've got these great ideas, taking the GED test, getting a job, getting out there, getting your license. Start thinking, how can I take these ideas that are in my head? How can I make them real? How can I make them a reality? And you do that by, you take those ideas, break them down into action steps, break them down into steps. Think, what's one thing I can do tomorrow to get closer to getting my driver's license? What's something I can do tomorrow to get me closer to the GED? You can go in baby steps if you want, but you just take little small steps, break it off, do a couple things each day. Maybe try to set aside a couple things each day that you can do to get closer to these goals. And before you know it, okay, it doesn't have to take that long. I think you can get them both done. But I really want you to think about both. Can you do both at the same time? And like I said at the beginning of the video, I had a student who was totally doing both at the same time. I think she was working too, and we would meet up, and like I said, we went over her driver's license stuff. At the same time, we kind of made it a reading exercise. So you can do something like that. It's good practice for reading comprehension. But the key is to just get specific, really make your plan specific here. Just kind of map out a time frame for yourself, a couple months, 6 months, whatever. How long do you want to give yourself until you made this stuff a reality? And I think you can do it in a relatively short period of time. So hopefully that answers your questions. Let me know if sometimes I ramble, and I know that orb kind of things floating around here are probably a little bit distracting unless you're listening to this while you're driving, or I guess you're probably not listening to this while you're driving because you're still trying to get your license. But good luck. I wish you the best of luck. Whatever you do, just seek clarity. Just try to get clear. Ask yourself, how would you advise somebody if this was a friend came to you in your exact situation and asked you the same question? How would you advise that person? What would you tell somebody to do? And what I'm telling you to do is to try to think both. Okay, you don't have to spend 8 hours a day doing this stuff. It could even be maybe 20 minutes a day, right? If you just sat down 20 minutes a day every day for a whole week, okay, you'd be a lot farther along. If you did that every day for a couple of weeks, if you set aside 20 minutes a day for the GED studying, 20 minutes a day for your driver's license, okay, now after a week or so, you're probably not going to, probably not be ready to go, okay, with just 20 minutes a day. But if you keep doing that, okay, for a couple months, you'll be good. The key is to just be consistent. And if you can give an hour a day to both, 2 hours a day to both, you're going to get there even faster. But you got to get momentum going. So at the end of the day, don't sit on the fence for too long. Don't rack your brain over this too more. Go with your gut here. Just pick one and jump in. But I think that what you should do is, really whatever is most actionable, what's going to be the easiest for you to get going so you can get some momentum going. And I think it's probably figure out what you need to do to get your driver's license, unless you might already know that, but figure that out and start learning about what do you have to do for the GED test and start really thinking about how you can do both at the same time, okay? And I think that you're going to be successful with it. So hope this helped you out. This is Parker from TestPrepChampions.com. Let me know what you think of this video. Let me know if you want me to clarify anything, but I wish you the best of luck with this. Thanks for the question.